Padres postgame show. Listen to Mike Shildt's postgame comments. Plus, we'll bring you today's play of the game. From the Padres Radio Network, here's Sam Levitt.
2 on and 2 out for Bogaerts. Tying run 90 feet away. Xander swings, lines one into left field. That's down in front of Bellinger. Arise has scored. Machado's on his way. The throw to the plate is up the line. A 2-run single for Xander. And the Padres lead it for the first time tonight.
A furious 4-run rally in the 8th inning in New York City as the Padres beat the New York Yankees 4-3 on a wet night in the Bronx. Padres have won 6 in a row. They improved to 23-11 on the season. What a win here tonight for the Padres in the Bronx against the Yankees. Sam Levitt with you inside our San Diego studios. Welcome into our Jamul Casino Resort postgame show. Hey, player, when it comes to giving you what you want, Jamul Casino Resort isn't playing around. It's way more than a place to game. It's a place where you can stay and play in every possible way. Jamul Casino Resort, the player's place. A lot to do on our post-game coverage. We'll go back to New York, hear from Mike Shildt. We have all the radio highlights for you. We have all our daily awards, full look at the out-of-town scoreboard, and much, much more to come. But what a win for the Padres on a night where things were frustrating in a lot of different ways. Padres didn't have anything going offensively most of the evening against the Yankees left-hander Carlos Rodon. We went through 2 separate rain delays, one before first pitch, one after first pitch. The rain coming down, Nick Pivetta having to deal with some pouring rain. Really, it felt like the game should have been stopped sooner. But through all that, the Padres had a huge 8th inning where they mounted a big-time rally and got 2 huge run-scoring hits from their stars, Manny Machado and Xander Bogaerts. And the Padres end up winning this game by a final score of 4-3 in that 8th inning as well. Fernando Tatis Jr. ejected Mike Shildt. A very animated ejection, got his money's worth, but you know what? It went from a 3-0 game. Those guys got ejected. You want to say that sparked the Padres? So be it. Padres end up scoring 4 runs in that inning after that point, and you go through that 8th inning. I mean, what a job. Tyler Wade getting on with a 1-out walk. Brandon Lockridge, a single to put 2 on. Luis Arise drawing a 2-out walk. That was after the ejection of Tatis, after he struck out for out number 2. Mike Shildt, irate at home plate umpire Adrian Johnson after what was just a brutal strike 2 call. Tatis then later strikes out in that at bat. So Shildt goes out there, gets his money's worth, and then with the bases loaded, the 2 biggest swings of the night. Manny Machado, a 2-run double to make it 3-2, and then Xander Bogaerts against Luke Weaver, who just came in to the game to face Manny. Manny gets him on a 1-1 pitch. Xander Bogaerts, aggressive, understanding the situation, hops on the first pitch, base hit into left, 2-run score, and just like that, the Padres fired up to take a 4-3 lead. And you cannot tell the story of this game without mentioning what the Padres bullpen did here tonight once again. Yuki Matsui, Ryan Berger, Jeremiah Estrada, and Robert Suarez combining for 4 scoreless innings. Matsui comes in the 6th inning, gives up a run on a sac fly, not all his fault, an error in that inning as well as the Yankees make it 3-0 in the 6th, but Matsui gets through the rest of that inning, keeps it 3-0. Ryan Berger, a scoreless 7th inning. He's been good since coming up to the major leagues. Jeremiah Estrada gets out of the 8th inning. Cody Bellinger gives him a little scare with a deep fly ball to center, but Yankee Stadium, hitter-friendly park, just big enough to hold it in. And then what more can you say about Robert Suarez? A quick and easy 1-2-3 9th inning with a couple of strikeouts. He's now 14 for 14 in save opportunities. But you want to talk about a gutsy, gritty win on what was, for the most part, through 7+ innings, a really tough night for the Padres where they didn't have anything going. It's cold, it's wet, you're dealing with rain delays. Would anybody have blamed the Padres for kind of packing things up and you're down 3-0? Go get them tomorrow? Probably not. Would we have been shocked if this game kind of ended that way? Probably not. But this is a team that continues, even going back to last year, to show a ton of fight, a ton of grit. I would be shocked if we don't hear Grit Squad from Mike Shildt in the post-game press conference, because this was a Grit Squad type of win, a 4-run eighth inning, big guys and Manny and Xander getting big-time run-scoring hits, and the Padres get out of the Bronx tonight with a 4-3 win. Padres have won 6 in a row. They're now 4-0 on this 9-game road trip, and the Padres improved to 23-11 on the season. Just a really, really memorable win against the Yankees tonight. When we come back, we have all the radio highlights for you. We'll hear from Mike Shildt. We'll get to your phone calls. Much, much more to come. A good one in the Bronx tonight. Final score, Padres 4 and the Yankees 3. Our postgame coverage continues after this. Padres win it on a Monday night in New York City. Final score, Padres 4 and the Yankees 3. Padres improved to 23-11 on the year. San Diego rolling right now. They've won 6 in a row, 4-0 on this 9-game road trip. And what a win it was in the Bronx tonight. We'll get to all of it coming up in just a little bit. We'll go back to Yankee Stadium, hear from Padres manager Mike Shildt in just a little bit. Our daily awards, relief pitcher of the game, catch of the game, play of the game, full look at the out-of-town scoreboard, your phone calls, and much, much more coming up here on our Jamul Casino Resort Padres post-game show. Well, we had a 28-minute rain delay before first pitch. What else is new? It wouldn't be the final rain delay of the night, but even with the rain, Padres made this one well worth the wait. Let's recap it.
Which moments determine the outcome of today's game? We'll paint you a picture with our game highlights on the Padres Radio Network.
A 28-minute rain delay, to be exact, before first pitch. Who's counting? these days, right, on this road trip. But when we got started, it was a pitching matchup of Nick Pivetta against Carlos Rodon. A couple of pitchers throwing the ball really well right now. Pivetta started his night with 2 scoreless innings. He got some help in the first after an Aaron Judge walk. Ben Rice doubled. The throw to second bounced just a little bit away from Xander Bogaerts. Judge tried to score. Bogaerts made a good play, threw Judge out at home, kept it a scoreless game. Meanwhile, Rodon started his night with 3 scoreless innings. In the bottom half of the third, still a 0-0 game. Pivetta walked the Yankees' number 9 batter on a really close 3-2 pitch. That flipped the lineup over to the Yankee leadoff man and former Padre Trent Grisham.
Ball on his strike. Trent swings, hits it in the air, deep down the right field line. This one way back into the second deck, a home run. 9th of the year for Trent Grisham. And this is a 2-run shot that gives the Yankees a 2-run lead.
Puts him second on the team, only behind Judge.
9th home run of the season for Trent Grisham. Yankees had a 2-0 lead. Padres didn't score in the top of the 4th inning. In the bottom half, the Yankees put 2 on base, and then it was starting to pour at Yankee Stadium. We ultimately went into a rain delay with 2 on and 2 out. In the bottom of the 4th, it was a short delay, 28 minutes. When we resumed, Pivetta got a strikeout to end the inning. Yankees still led 2-0 when we went to the bottom half of the 6th inning. Pivetta took the mound. He gave up a leadoff single to Paul Goldschmidt. Yuki Matsui came in. Goldschmidt stole second. Elias Diaz threw the ball into center. Goldschmidt went to third base, an error on Diaz. That was significant because Anthony Volpe hit a sac fly to left that scored Goldschmidt, and the Yankees had a 3-0 lead. Pivetta giving up 2 earned runs, 3 total in 5+ innings tonight. Padres still trailed 3-0, going top 7. Rodon still on the mound. He issued a 1-out walk. After a fielder's choice from Luis Campusano, he went to third base on a single from Oscar Gonzalez. So just like that, the Padres all of a sudden had the tying run at the plate, trailing 3-0. The Yankees brought righty Fernando Cruz in the game. The Padres then responded by pinch hitting Gavin Sheets for Elias Diaz, and then this happened.
The pitch. And Sheets scoots back, takes in the dirt, and it'll be right at home plate, picked up by Wells, who tags Campusano out, and that'll end the inning. Campusano must have thought that the ball got well beyond Wells, but it was right behind home plate. Catcher picked it up, tagged him out, and that is that.
And at the time, it felt really costly because not only did it end the inning, but the Padres had to burn Gavin Sheets, and he never actually got a swing off to put a ball in play because Sheets was in the catcher's spot. So the inning was over. Padres still trailed 3-0. Ryan Bergert pitched the scoreless bottom of the 7th inning. That got us to the 8th inning. Yankees reliever Devin Williams came in. Williams struggling in the early part of his Yankee career. He walked Tyler Wade with 1 out. Brandon Lockridge singled to send Wade to second base. Fernando Tatis Jr. then struck out against Williams. A bad strike 2 call from home plate umpire Adrian Johnson. Tatis was thrown out after he whispered something to Johnson that Johnson didn't like. It was the first ever ejection for Fernando Tatis Jr., first in his major league career. Mike Shildt, who had been all over Johnson earlier in the plate appearance, he came out, he got his money's worth, and Mike Shildt got ejected too. So Devin Williams then walked Luis Ariz to load the bases. That brought Manny Machado to the plate with the bases loaded, representing the go-ahead run. Again, a 3-0 Yankee lead. The Yankees went to righty Luke Weaver to face Manny.
1-1 to Machado. Weaver ready, and the pitch. Manny swings, rips it into left field. That is down at a base hit. It's going to bounce and roll all the way to the wall. Wade and Lockridge have scored. Ariz will be held as the throw comes into Volpe. A 2-run double for Machado, and a 1-run game here in the 8th.
Padres trailing just 3-2. It was Manny on second base, Ariz on third. Next up, the X-Man.
2 on and 2 out for Bogaerts. Tying run 90 feet away. Xander swings, lines one into left field. That's down in front of Bellinger. Ariz has scored. Machado's on his way. The throw to the plate is up the line. A 2-run single for Xander. And the Padres lead it for the first time tonight.
Manny yelling as he crossed home plate with the go-ahead run. Padres led 4-3. A 4-run at top of the 8th inning. A furious rally by the San Diego Padres. Jeremiah Estrada came in to face the heart of the Yankee lineup in the bottom half of the inning. He gave up a 2-out single to Paul Goldschmidt, but got the final out of the 8th inning on a long fly out to center from Cody Bellinger off the bat. got you nervous, but Brandon Lockridge tracking it down in center. Padres took that 4-3 lead into the ninth inning. They didn't score against former Padre Tim Hill in the top of the inning, so we went bottom 9. Robert Suarez came in trying to protect just a one-run lead. Suarez struck out Anthony Volpe. He got a deep fly out to left from Austin Wells. Jason Dominguez pinch hit for Oswaldo Peraza. The count went to 1-2 on Dominguez.
The 1-2 pitch. Dominguez swings and misses at a changeup, strike 3, and the ball game is over. Robert Suarez again, 1-2-3 with a couple of strikeouts in the bottom of the ninth inning, and the Padres ride a 4-run eighth inning to come from behind in the rain and beat the Yankees 4-3.
It was a wet, wild night in the Bronx, but the Padres come away with a 4-3 win, the 4-run eighth inning to come back and win it. Padres improved to 23-11. Yankees dropped to 19-16. Padres have won 6 in a row, a perfect 4-0 now on this 9-game road trip. Final totals in this one for the Padres: 4 runs, 6 hits, 1 error. For the Yankees, 3 runs, 6 hits, and no errors. Winning pitcher Ryan Bergert, who is well-deserved here tonight with the win, he improves to 1-0. First major league win for Ryan Bergert. Congratulations to him. A scoreless 7th inning. Losing pitcher Luke Weaver, who drops to 0-1, gave up the 2 RBI hits to the Padres in the top of the 8th inning. And Robert Suarez, now a perfect 14 for 14 in save opportunities. Well, a couple of rain delays, but well worth the wait. Padres get a really memorable win in New York tonight. We'll step aside. Coming up in a little bit, we'll hear from Padres manager Mike Shildt, plus our daily awards. We'll get to your phone calls at 833-288-0973 coming up in a little while as well. Again, phone number 833-288-0973. If you want to get involved on social media, you can do that as well. You can find me on X at Sammy Lev, SAMMYLEV. Instagram DMs open as well. Sammy Lev there too. You can DM me on TikTok for the TikTokers out there. Sammy Levitt, SAMMYLEVITT. And for those of you tuned in on the 97.3 The Fan YouTube page, hello. Hope you're okay with me that I haven't shaved in a couple of days, and you can comment in the comment section there as well. We'll address your post-game comments and your phone calls coming up a little bit later. Padres win it 4-3 against the Yankees on this Monday. Our post-game coverage continues after this on the Padres Radio Network. Welcome back to the Jamul Casino Resort post-game show, brought to you by the all-new Jamul Casino Resort, the Players' Place. Sam Levitt with you inside our San Diego studios. What a win for the Padres in New York tonight. A 4-run eighth inning, 2 big RBI hits, a 2-run double by Manny Machado made it a 1-run game, 2-run single from the X-Man Xander Bogaerts gave the Padres a 4-3 lead. Padres bullpen terrific in this game. Yuki Matsui, Ryan Berger, Jeremiah Estrada, Robert Suarez combining for 4 scoreless innings out of the pen. Yes, Yuki Matsui did give up the run in the 6th inning after the error, the stolen base, and then the throwing error by Elias Diaz. The run was charged against Nick Pivetta, who gave up the single to Goldschmidt to begin that 6th inning. But the Padres relievers were not charged with any runs in their 4 innings of work in this game. A big congrats to Ryan Berger, who picked up his first major league win in this ball game. And the Padres continue to find ways to win one way or another. They've won 6 in a row. They improved to 23-11 on the season. And now tomorrow, Michael King on the mound, making his return to Yankee Stadium. That'll be exciting. And also, we're expecting Jackson Merrill to be activated from the IL tomorrow. He's with the team today, a part of his rehab schedule, not to play today, according to Mike Shildt earlier during his pregame media availability. But Mike Shildt did say before the game that Jackson was tracking to be activated tomorrow. So hopefully that's the case. Hopefully no more rain in New York tomorrow. We had a couple of rain delays in this one, but the Padres made it well worth the wait as they come away with a really, really nice, a gritty 4-3 win against the Yankees. Let's go back to Yankee Stadium in the Bronx and hear some post-game reaction.
Let's pull up a seat in the manager's office and hear from Padres manager Mike Shildt, served up by Sin Lee Food, where fresh meets flavor. Find farm fresh produce, bold Asian spices, and gourmet ingredients at 4665 El Cajon Boulevard. Sin Lee Food, the cook's Asian resource.
All of the dramatic comebacks and things your team has done, what did you think of tonight and how they responded in the 8th?
Oh man, a lot to unpack. The response was evident on the scoreboard in the 8th, but the response for me is every night with this group. This group loves to compete and play baseball together, and regardless of circumstances, they're going to show up and they're going to post. Just got done a couple of rain delays over in Pittsburgh. Pro way to handle it. Boom, game starts. Let's go. Second night, game starts. Let's go. Tonight, rain delay, game starts. Let's go. Game stops. And I knew we were going to be in a good place again, regardless. But that game got delayed for a short period of time, and told everybody what time the game was going to resume. Our dugout was full. Energy was good. Guys are ready to go take the field. Mickey's ready. So when you have guys that do that consistently, regardless of circumstances, you're going to set yourself up, especially with the ability we have to play the game right, to compete, and then things will break for you. And they broke for us tonight, and they break in different ways. And they broke, tonight with Wadey, working a walk and have a good approach and gets his base hit up the middle. And next thing you know, here comes Manny, and then here comes Bogey. So the bottom to the top, and, little things, walks and, nice approaches lead to bigger things with the double and Bogey's clutch 2-run go ahead, game winning turned out to be RBI.
What can you tell us about your discussion with Adrian?
I don't know how much you want to share. A couple things. Listen. So Toddy, I thought, handled it very well in the sense of, and I'll start by saying this. Look, it's a hard job. I've got good relationships, great relationships with and respect, and the body of work speaks for itself, which I'll get to in a minute. But with umpires, and Toddy had some pitches that I didn't agree with earlier. I had made my comments from the dugout known, which I don't do a ton. But did it, walks away, hand over his mouth, and next thing you know, he's ejected, walking away with his back turned for his first major league ejection. And then there's a comment about, which I won't even share the comment. All I can say is this. we'll talk about track record. I don't have players that I've managed for a long time now, minor leagues, big leaguers. I don't have players that get ejected. My job's to do, and I don't get ejected a lot. All right. So, but I probably have the fewest amount of player ejections in my time managing. So our players play, they stay in the game. They're very respectful, rightfully so, to the umpires. I have the majority of the league that over the course of many years have been complimentary about how our players respect them, and me and our staff respect them. But he made a decision. He threw him out. I let the body of the work for the umpire grade speak for itself, and we'll leave it at that.
Did your glasses escape unscathed?
My glasses made it. I did have my head about me to make sure. I got some, a lot of BP, so my shoulders, not as operable as I'd like. But it came into play, and I made sure it stayed in the grass. I didn't want them scratched. I like these glasses a lot.
Have you ever thrown your glasses before from an argument like that one?
No, I don't think I have.
What did you make of the conditions tonight and kind of the way, the fifth inning and as the rain started coming down a little heavier, the way that was handled and the way the whole night kind of went?
That's a tough job, man. The weatherman is playing weatherman for baseball games is really, really hard. We've had games where you cancel it because of the forecast and you go home and you don't get a drop. You also recognize, especially for the integrity of the schedule, that the league has a real desire, especially the first game of the series, to get it in with some potential rain coming the next couple of days. And so, it is what it is. The field was playable, it drains really well. It's a great surface. And so we had the window that closed a little bit for a while and opened back up and then started closing at the end. And Suarez made sure it stayed closed at the very end.
Did you get back here in time to watch Manny's double?
I did, yes.
Just in time, or?
No, I actually saw Arise's walk. So yeah, I was back for all of that.
What did you think of Pavetta and kind of how he handled?
I thought he was good, man. I thought, like I said, it was representative and starts on the mound a lot of times where you just show up and regardless of circumstance, I think he's going to compete. He's a great model for that. He's going to get after it. And short delay, went out, finished out, which let's don't forget that part of it. Gets out of the fourth with some traffic after a 20. He was off the field for I think 28 minutes, like a longer inning. We knew we weren't going to have too many more bullets with him, like the matchup with Goldie, and then we brought Yuki in, obviously. But I thought Nicky was really good again and competed his tail off.
You've had a lot of good wins early this season already, given how tonight transpired. And it seemed like when you felt was an unjust ejection of one of your players, how satisfying was this win compared to any other so far?
Yeah, it's fair. They all are equal in the column. This one has, even another even deeper entrench of who we are and how we compete. It's just the fabric of this club, the grid squad, and just, it's a reinforcement of playing the game all the time the right way, and good things will happen over the course of that. It's clearly a nice big win. Let's consider our man Berger, first major league win. Pretty special. So good for him. I'm sure he's been celebrated in the clubhouse.
That was Padres manager Mike Shildt after this exciting, thrilling, furious rally in the eighth inning as the Padres win it 4-3 against the New York Yankees. Sam Levitt back with you inside our San Diego studios as we continue to wrap this one up. See, I told you, I thought Mike Shildt would say grit squad at some point during the postgame. Took a little while, but I was correct. A gritty grit squad kind of win for the Padres in New York tonight. And they were jamming in the clubhouse, too. I mean, rightfully so. What a nice win, 6 in a row. Ryan Berger getting his first major league win. Nice shout out there from Mike Shildt at the end of the post-game media availability. I do want to discuss the ejections because, number one, I mean, it is kind of remarkable. Fernando Tatis Jr. had never been ejected from a game before Adrian Johnson did it in the top of the eighth inning. And then Mike Shildt, who had a lot to say there about the ejection, perfectly fair what he had to say and calm. Talking about throwing his glasses, that he can't remember ever throwing his glasses away like that before he went to argue with an umpire. But thankfully, the glass certainly got his money's worth. And I thought, kind of rightfully so, based on, what was a bad strike two call. It didn't. It didn't certainly appear like the Padres were particularly happy with home plate umpire Adrian Johnson throughout the evening, and it sort of culminated with what happened with Tatis in the eighth inning. Before I get to the Tatis part of it itself, good for the Padres in a way, kind of backing up their manager in the top of the eighth inning. He gets thrown out, then Arise draws the walk, and Manny hits the 2-run double to make it a 1-run game. Xander hits a 2-run single to give the Padres a 4-3 lead to go on to win by that final score. I mean, I'll tell you what, you want to say that Mike getting ejected there sort of sparked his team? Sure. It's fair. We can go with that. But it was kind of cool to see the Padres and their stars in particular, Manny and Xander, back up Fernando getting ejected and back up their manager getting ejected. I thought that was a really cool aspect of this eighth inning beyond the Padres just rallying the way they did, getting the quality of big hits they did to take that 4-3 lead. Now, on the Fernando part of it, look, I understand that a player can't just say necessarily whatever he wants to an umpire. Here's what I'll say about it, and this is kind of where I always fall when it comes to ejections. And quite frankly, when you're the caliber of a player of Fernando Tatis Jr., I have no idea what Fernando said to Adrian Johnson behind the plate, have no clue. But it's not like Fernando was showing up Adrian Johnson. He wasn't demonstrative. He didn't yell at him. He wasn't pointing at him. He, I think with his hand over his mouth, went and said something and then started walking away. And as he's walking away, Adrian Johnson quietly throws him out of the game. To me, unless a guy is really showing you up and demonstrative, I'm very rarely going to support a star player getting thrown out of a game. Again, I don't know what he said to him. It probably wasn't good considering Adrian Johnson threw him out of the game. But I mean, that was a very calm address of Adrian Johnson after that strikeout. And I understood, number one, why Mike Shildt and Fernando were upset with the strike zone, because at least the strike two call in that at bat, I mean, it was below the zone. It should have been called the ball, and it wasn't. And Mike Shildt was all over Adrian Johnson. And then once Tatis got thrown out, especially the way he got thrown out after he just kind of said something with his hand over his mouth and walked away, I totally understood Mike Shildt, going at Adrian Johnson. I did. You knew it was going to happen. You knew Mike was getting his money's worth at that point. But tell you what, star guys, Manny, Xander, they kind of backed up their manager there, came up with big hits, and the Padres get a very, very impressive 4-3 win in New York. Let's step aside. We'll get into our daily awards. We will get to some of your phone calls, 833-288-0973. Phone number to call, as always, 833-288-0973. We'll have our relief pitcher of the game. I do want to talk more about this bullpen. They continue to be terrific. We'll have our play of the game, catch of the game, all that good stuff coming up in just a little bit as the Padres beat the Yankees 4-3 on this Monday night. Our Jamul Casino Resort Padres postgame show continues after this. Our Jamul Casino Resort Padres postgame show continues here on the Padres Radio Network. Final score, the Padres 4 and the Yankees 3. What a win for the Padres in the Bronx tonight. A 4-run 8th inning, 2 huge 2 RBI hits for Manny Machado to make it a 1-run game. Xander Bogaerts to give the Padres the lead, and the Padres go on to win a 6th in a row. They improve to 23-11 on the season. We'll get to your phone calls. We've got the phone lines lighting up here, so we'll get to your phone calls in just a second. 833-288-0973. First, let's tell you about tonight's relief pitcher of the game.
Which pitcher entered the game and slammed the door shut? This is today's relief pitcher of the game, presented by David P. Shapiro Criminal Defense Attorneys. When your freedom and future are on the line, you need the best arm in the pen. Visit davidpshapirolaw.com.
3-2 again. And Grisham swings, sends it in the air to center field. Not deep at all. Lockridge over a little bit towards left center, kind of sidestepping. And he makes the catch. Down to 1-2-3. 7th inning for Ryan Bergert.
Ryan Bergert, our relief pitcher of the game. And yes, we had a number of options to choose from. You could have selected Bergert. You could have selected Jeremiah Estrada. Could have selected Robert Suarez, who continues to be great now. A perfect 14 for 14 in save opportunities. But why not pick Ryan Bergert, who's been good since coming up to the major leagues? Now 3 scoreless appearances for Ryan Bergert. A scoreless 1-2-3 7th inning. And hey, at the time, kept it a 3-run deficit. And that ended up being huge in this game, keeping the deficit at only 3 runs. And Ryan Bergert, because he did that, picked up the win in this game. First major league win for Ryan Bergert. So he'll be today's relief pitcher of the game. Let's play our catch of today's 4-3 win.
Which defensive play had the biggest impact on today's game?
He is at the wall, leaps up, and he makes the catch.
This is the catch of the game.
Gonna hang a star for Jackson Merrill.
Reeled in by Anthony's Fish Grotto La Mesa, celebrating 80 years of seafood excellence.
And the first pitch to him hit hard and fair up the first baseline, all the way towards the right field corner. Fernando over to get it. Rice is trying for 2. Tatis's throw coming. Tag from Bogaerts was in time, but it pops out of his glove. Judge coming home. Throw from Bogaerts. The tag, they got him! Judge thrown out at the plate by Xander as the bobble at second ends up getting them an out at home.
Great tag by Elias Diaz.
Our catch of the game, that play all the way back in the first inning. Little bit unusual catch of the game because there was a bobble at second base. But you know what? Xander did a good job getting to it, made a good enough throw home. Nice play by Diaz. Good catch and tag at home plate of Aaron Judge. And at the time, kept it a scoreless game. So that's our catch of the game, kind of that wacky play all the way back in the first inning. That double by Ben Rice. Throw is low going into second. Got just a little bit away from Xander Bogaerts, but he did a good job recovering, getting the out at home plate. Again, phone number to call, 833-288-0973, 833-288-0973. Let's go to the phones after a big 4-3 win for the Padres in New York. Let's go to Eric in Chula Vista. Eric, you lead us off. What's going on?
Hey, Sam, how you doing?
Doing well.
Hey, great game, great victory by the Padres. Pulling it out after being down 3-0 with the weather inclement and then getting thrown out with Tatis and Shildt. But what I wanted to touch on was the Padres don't have a lot of weak points. We're 34 games in. We've seen injury. We've seen those type of things, and they still seem to pull it off, and maintain their offense. And then, of course, the stellar bullpen. But my only concern is, and it's not weak just yet, but they're starting pitching. We've got one pitcher on the rotation that's got more than one quality start, and he pitched tonight, and he almost took the loss. But I think the Padres are doing great, and everybody's excited. And let's go for this sweep, Sam.
Yeah, got to win the game tomorrow first, Eric. Appreciate the phone call. Look, Pivetta was okay tonight. It was a tough evening. I mean, number one, he had to wait around through the first rain delay. Then he gives up the 2-run home run to Grisham. He's pitching through pouring rain in the bottom half of the 4th inning. Gave up the single to start the 6th inning. That run ends up being unearned. So, look, the final line for Nick wasn't stellar, but it was okay. 5+ innings, 3 runs, 2 earned, given up. He wasn't at his best tonight, but kind of tough conditions as well. And the Padres got the win. I'm not going to complain about Nick Pivetta tonight. Look, probably if you're looking at anything right now, when this team is fully healthy, offensively, you really like where they are. I mean, the bullpen, my goodness, has been just outstanding. Starting pitching-wise, I think it's fair to have some concerns. I mean, not with Michael King, not with Pivetta so far. Dylan Cease, you want to see that real dominant version of Cease. You hope it's coming. We just haven't seen it yet with Dylan, but it's in there for Dylan, and hopefully that comes soon. Look, after that, Randy Vasquez, you kind of know what you're going to get. He's going to deal with a lot of base runners, and it's a matter of if he can get out of trouble enough to keep you in a game. And then Stephen Kolek, really encouraging. And again, it's one start for Kolek. So we'll see when Yu Darvish comes back, hopefully by the end of this month, will be a huge lift. Dylan Cease, being that dominant Cease, would be really, really great and important, and would give you a 3-4 at the top that you feel great about between Pivetta and King and Cease and Darvish when he comes back. So we'll see. But look, I understand what you're saying. But for now, they're doing a good enough job for this team to pick up a lot of wins. Let's go to Kathy in LA. Kathy, you're on the Padres Radio Network. Go ahead.
Hey, Sammy. I kind of feel bad for Pivetta because a couple of his starts, he's had some really crappy weather. First was at start in Chicago where it was like so cold, and now this rain in New York. It was just like, but and he's one of our better pitchers, so I kind of feel bad for the guy that he's had to pitch in such bad weather. But wow, that 8th inning, I just got my hip replaced last Tuesday, so I'm on my disability right now, and I'm going to be listening in to every single game till I get back. And what a game!
Yeah,
6 in a row, Sammy. Amazing, absolutely amazing.
Yeah, amazing game. Well, Kathy, I hope your recovery goes well. Hope you're feeling better soon. Okay, thank you for listening.
Thanks, Sammy.
All right, that's Kathy in LA. Let's continue on the phones. We go to Jamie calling in. Jamie, you're on the Padres Radio Network. Welcome in.
Hey, Sammy Lev.
Hey.
Hardest working man in baseball.
Oh, you know what? I appreciate it, Jamie. They got me working a lot here this road trip. I got rain delays. I got long games. But Padres are winning, so can't complain about much, but I appreciate it.
I think the fact that we came back after that rain delay was fantastic. Let's be honest. We were down by 2, and I'm in a bar here in San Diego thinking, we're in trouble. Everybody's like, oh, crap. But what happened? They came back, man.
Yeah.
This is our team this year. Not the same as every other year. We came back.
Yeah. No, they did a great job, Jamie, and appreciate the phone call. They did a great job. Look, you weren't feeling great about where things were heading into that top of the 8th inning. They just weren't doing a whole lot against Rodon, and you got a back end of the bullpen that has struggled a little bit, but they're also pretty good back there. I mean, Williams, man, it was another tough outing for Devin Williams out of the Yankees bullpen. But Luke Weaver's been really, really good. I'll give you a note about Luke Weaver here in a second, but you got to give him credit. Just looked like it was kind of going to be one of those nights, with the rain delays and trailing 3-0. It would have been very easy for this team to kind of fold up and focus on tomorrow, on what's been a nice little stretch, but they did not do that. They found a way, which you love. Let's go to Steve calling in from Carlsbad. Steve, you're on the Padres Radio Network. Welcome in.
Hey there, Sammy. Good
Hey.
to talk to you.
Yep.
I love the way you present the games. I mean, in the beginning, at the end, the way you guys present it to the people that are listening from pregame to postgame is great. Makes my life wonderful.
Now, thank you.
Love this
Appreciate that.
victory. Great comeback victory. I have a question. When Shildt was doing his post-game interview, he kept alluding to something when they kept bringing up the umpire and his possible history with the umpire that tossed him. He kept saying, I'll let his track record speak for itself a couple times. And I was wondering what he was meaning by that, or was he insinuating that the guy blows a lot of calls, or they don't have good history? Or
yeah, Steve, I gotta and appreciate the phone call. It's a fair question. I gotta go back and listen to it again and listen to that specific part, kind of the whole interaction about the ejection, because I just got to go back and listen to it a second time and really focus on what Mike was talking about, because I wasn't sure if he was referring to the umpire or if he was referring to Fernando's track record of being a guy who never gets thrown out. Mike was talking about his own track record as somebody who doesn't get thrown out a lot, and his players don't typically get thrown out a lot. So, Steve, I'll be honest with you, I got to go back and listen to it again. But what I can tell you is just like the facts, and Fernando's never been thrown out of a game. Mike Shildt's not a guy who gets thrown out of a ton of games. Mike did refer to the scorecard. They may already have the information internally about, how the umpire did. There is that account on X that's pretty famous and popular by now, Umpire Scorecard. You get like a real look at how the umpire did. I don't think that's out yet. That usually comes out like later tonight or the next morning. So we'll see kind of what that looks like. But what I can tell you also, with even in addition to Fernando's first career ejection, is look, in that at bat in particular, the strike 2 call was low. It was low, and it changed the trajectory of that at bat. And Fernando had a right to be upset about it. I don't know what he said to Adrian Johnson. To me, and again, I don't know what he said, and I'm sure it wasn't particularly nice, but to me, it's not like Fernando was showing up the umpire. I mean, he had his hand over his mouth, very quietly said something to him and walked away. To me, and again, I don't know what he said, but when you're a superstar, it's almost like in the NBA getting superstar calls. In my opinion, like, unless you're showing up the umpire in a major demonstrative way, when you're a player the caliber of Fernando and you've got fans there paying good money to see these star players, I think it's got to take a lot to get thrown out of a game. That's my opinion. It's almost like the superstar whistle in the NBA. Okay, those guys are refereed a little bit differently than everybody else. I think there's got to be some wiggle room there. So again, I don't know what he said, and but just looking at it on TV and seeing the situation from just my perspective and, from anybody's perspective that isn't Adrian Johnson and Fernando Tatis Jr., is what it is. Hey, it sparked the team to come back, if you want to look at it that way, and go get a win. All right, let's step aside. We will get some more of your phone calls, 833-288-0973. Full look at the out-of-town scoreboard, our play of the game coming up as well. Final score, Padres 4, Yankees 3. You're listening to the Padres Radio Network. Our Jamul Casino Resort Padres postgame show continues here on the Padres Radio Network. Final score on this Monday in the Bronx. The Padres 4 and the Yankees 3. Sam Levitt with you inside our San Diego studios as we continue to wrap this one up. We'll take a full look at the out-of-town scoreboard coming up in a little bit. We'll also have our play of the game as the Padres come from behind a 4-run eighth inning, a furious rally as the Padres continue to play really good baseball. 6 wins in a row, and they improved to 23-11 on the year. I do want to read this tweet, X, whatever they call it now, from Dennis Lynn. Dennis writing on X here. See, this is why I don't like calling it X. I can't even say tweeting anymore, just tweeting. All right, Dennis Lynn on X here. Padres and MLB writer for The Athletic, by the way, is on every Monday morning on Ben and Woods here on 97.3 The Fan. Dennis writing, what did Fernando Tatis Jr. say to Adrian Johnson before the Padres rallied in the eighth? Quote, I forgot, Tatis said. I'm just happy it got the boys hyped. And tonight's ejection was the first of Tatis's career. And his first, he said he was a teenager in winter ball the first time he got ejected. So we told you it was Fernando's first career ejection. Tatis saying he forgot. Did Fernando really forget? I doubt it, but I understand that Fernando might not want to share what was actually said to Adrian Johnson. But the Padres, most importantly, get a 4-3 win. All right, let's go back out to the phones. 833-288-0973. We're going to get through a bunch of phone calls here quickly, then get to our out-of-town scoreboard, play the game, wrap things up, and get you ready for tomorrow. Let's go across the world to a city that I visited. We go to, I understand, hope I'm right here, Brisbane, Australia. It's Jennifer calling in. Jennifer, welcome into the Padres Radio Network. How are you? Hi, Jennifer.
Fab. It's a great afternoon when the Padres beat the Yankees.
Great. So it's afternoon in Brisbane.
Yes, it is, actually.
Okay.
Yeah, it's just after 2 o'clock in the afternoon.
Oh, very nice. So, Jennifer, before we hear your thoughts about the game, give me the story. Why are you in Brisbane, and what brings you to our radio broadcast here tonight?
Oh, I'm a San Diego native.
Oh,
so
wow.
Padres fan from birth, really, and moved down here 18 years ago, actually, for work, and just decided to stay, but never left the Padres behind.
Okay. Well, I love it. I've been to Brisbane. I took a solo trip.
Oh.
What was it? 2019 to Australia. Went to Sydney, Melbourne, Byron Bay, Uluru, Whitsundays, and I had a night in Brisbane as well. And I had just an unbelievable and amazing time, Jennifer. So glad to talk to you. And what'd you think about the game?
Yeah. You know, I was just listening to Scan the other night, remind everybody about the buffer zone around the strike zone that they pushed out to 0.75 inches or something. So I'm kind of thinking calls like this, I think, are going to be more common. And I think it's probably more important that everybody just be cool, because it's going to be a long, hard season with this changed buffer zone. Thoughts?
Yeah, Jennifer, it's a fair point. You know, I think and appreciate the phone call. Thank you so much for tuning in all the way from Australia. We really appreciate it. I think it's a fair point about the buffer zone, that at least it's going to take some adjustments on the part of the hitters. Now, I think something that's interesting about the buffer zone being changed as well is that it sounds like Major League Baseball didn't do a particularly good job of communicating it to their players that there was any kind of adjustment going on. So yes, players are going to have to adjust to that. Now, is that going to decrease players being unhappy with home plate umpires on calls? I don't know. I mean, that's been forever, and there's always going to be a disagreement on the strike zone and what's a ball and what's a strike when it's close and in certain spots, and you're going to have guys complaining and arguing and ejected. To be honest with you, Jennifer, I don't think that will change, but I do think it's a really fair point you bring up of that being something to consider, something that players are going to have to adjust to and have an understanding of that buffer zone, being changed coming into this year, and something that, we didn't hear about at the start of the year, which was kind of one of the more interesting parts of it. Let's go to Larry calling in. Larry, you're on the Padres Radio Network. Welcome in.
Oh, Sam, what a beautiful Monday night. Oh, it's so wonderful. Great hard-fought battle. I do want to say, if you ain't got Jennifer energy calling all the way from Australia, then what are you doing with your life? That is just awesome.
Yeah.
I want to touch on three things. First of all, Mike Shildt, I think it is such a humbling and beautiful stat to say that you have not had, players ejected. I think that's just a really great thing to reflect on. Second thing I want to touch on is, I don't know what more Bogey has to do to get people's respect, but he's playing wonderful baseball. People need to get off of his back. I mean, he's performing night after night. And the third thing I want to touch on is, last season we had a stretch. I think we went 18 in 20. We won 18 of 21 games.
Mm-hmm.
And it was just remarkable because it was like we would get down and then we would have exactly how we had tonight. It would be late in the game, 7th inning, and it was like I wouldn't even be worried. I would just sit back and be like, "Oh, it's only the 7th." Like,
right.
We got plenty of time, you know. And then to top it all off, we got Jackson Merrill coming back tomorrow. So I don't know, just a beautiful night, great win. I just love seeing the energy of our guys, and I just love how much they unify and bring our city together. So it's just been a great season so far, and just a wonderful win.
Yeah, Larry, appreciate the phone call. Good call. And look, I think one of the things, and I'll kind of, sum up what you were saying there. I think one of the things that has been really encouraging about this team through 34 games is that and this is going to sound cliche, but I think it's true, from a grit perspective, a fight perspective, ability to come back in a game perspective, this has been a very, very similar team to what it was a year ago and in the second half last year. It's one of the real good things in my opinion, about this team so far has been they have been so similar to what they were last year from a toughness standpoint. And I think it's a really, really good sign that seemingly with a pretty similar group of guys has carried over one year to the other. And tonight was a great example. To your point, you're trailing 3-0. You have the ejections. You find a way to put together a rally. You got to give some credit to guys that came to the plate before the 2 RBI hits. Tyler Wade out of the 8th spot, drawing a 1-out walk. Brandon Lockridge getting on base with a single. Luis Arise, a walk after the Tatis ejection, and then you had the big swings from Manny and Xander. It was great to see, and it's been great to see them continue to show toughness and grit squad, right? I mean, yeah, it all sounds cliche, but there's truth in that. There really is, and they've done just a great job in that respect so far this year. They really have. Continue on the phones. We went out to Australia. Let's go a little bit closer to home, but still far away. We go to Jacob in Tennessee. Jacob, welcome into the Padres Radio Network, our Jamul Casino Resort post-game show. How are you?
Great, Sammy. How are you?
Doing great.
Hey, I just wanted to point out tonight, it's been a lot. I've been watching the Padres ever since I was young, and just the energy that I see these guys feeding off of each other. You see it in the first inning when Xander makes that mistake. And I've been super critical of Xander Bogaerts kind of ever since he came to the Padres and how much money we paid and the potential there. But he makes a great play at the plate to save the run. And you see Nick Pivetta pointing at him saying, hey, great play. And I just see this energy feed off. And I think that kind of translates to Fernando being unhappy at the plate and seeing Mike Shildt energized. Oh my God. It's just seeing, as a Padres fan, seeing a manager that is giving so much care about the game and his guys, having an Andy Green and a Bob Melvin that were just like so lame duck. And then seeing Mike Shildt in the dugout in the 8th inning in a rainy New York night, being so angry and so passionate about this team. And I think that really lit the fuse. I think it really led our guys to get the win tonight.
Yeah, I appreciate the call, Jacob. Good call, and thank you for listening from Tennessee. Look, I think lit the fuse is a great way to put it. You can say that tonight. Now, if Mike doesn't get ejected, let's say Fernando doesn't get ejected, could they still take a lead, win the game? Of course. But you know what? You can only live in the reality we're in, and they got ejected. And yeah, I think you could say it lit the fuse tonight. It's a great way to put it. So good point all the way around. I do want to say this about Xander as well. He had a huge hit. That's a huge, huge, huge hit in that 8th inning to give the Padres a 4-3 lead. This was the first time Xander Bogaerts has hit multiple RBIs in back-to-back games, believe it or not, since July 3rd and July 4th of 2023 against the Angels. Now, on one hand, You kind of wish there would be more multiple RBI games in a row from then until now. But look, again, dealing reality here. It's great to see Xander do what he did. Have 3 RBIs in yesterday's game, 2 RBIs today. Remember, he had the 3 RBI game during the homestand last week. So that's now in this 6-game win streak. Xander has a game of 3 RBIs, another of 3 RBIs, and here tonight, just a huge 2-run single. So he's been a much, much better run producer as of late. He really has. I want to pull up this pregame note I had about Xander just before we wrap up the Xander part of it. Make sure I'm covering everything on it. No, I got to all of it. Yeah, the 3 RBI game against San Francisco, 3 RBI game against the Pirates, and now the two RBI game here tonight with a huge hit. An absolutely great moment for Xander. And hopefully, fingers crossed, a sign of things to come for Xander Bogaerts, because the Padres need him. And I think a few calls ago mentioned it. Jackson Merrill supposedly will be back tomorrow, which is terrific news as well. All right, phone number 833-288-0973. Let's take a full look at the out-of-town scoreboard.
Let's take a trip around the bigs to highlight the scores that matter most with our out-of-town scoreboard. Presented by Jensen Premium Beef Patties. Always a hit for grilling.
We have a couple of games going on right now. Mets ahead of the Diamondbacks, 5-1 in Arizona right now. Top of the 7th inning there. Pete Alonso hit a home run earlier tonight for the Mets in that one. For Alonso, a 2-run home run. Also for Francisco Lindor, a home run in that one. Corbin Carroll, also a home run in that game. But again, Mets lead it 5-1. One other game going on right now. Mariners and the A's tied at 4 in Sacramento in the 5th inning. Top 2 teams right now in the American League West squaring off in that one. Everything else has gone final. Dodgers beat the Marlins 7-4 in Miami. Shohei Ohtani, his 9th home run of the year in that one for LA. Braves beat the Reds 4-0 in Atlanta. Royals beat the White Sox 3-0 in Kansas City. Brewers over the Astros 5-1 in Milwaukee. Christian Yelich a home run in that game for the Brew Crew. Cubs beat the Giants 9-2 at Wrigley Field. Ian Happ a home run in that game for the Cubbies. Cardinals beat the Pirates 6-3 in St. Louis. Wilson Contreras a home run in that game for the Cards, and we did have one postponement today. It was the Guardians and the Nationals postponed due to rain. They'll make that up as part of a doubleheader tomorrow in D.C. And that's a full look at the out-of-town scoreboard on this Monday across the major leagues. Padres beat the Yankees 4-3. Let's hear our play of the game.
The line between winning and losing can be razor thin. Which play was the difference between victory and defeat? This is today's Play of the Game, presented by Bill Howe Plumbing, Heating, and Air.
2 on and 2 out for Bogaerts. Tying run 90 feet away. Xander swings, lines one into left field. That's down in front of Bellinger. Arise has scored. Machado's on his way. The throw to the plate is up the line. A 2-run single for Xander. And the Padres lead it for the first time tonight.
Xander Bogaerts, the big go-ahead 2-run single in the top of the 8th inning, gave the Padres a 4-3 lead, capped a furious 4-run rally for the Padres in New York tonight, and that hit our play of the game here on the Padres Radio Network as the Padres win a 6th in a row, and they improve to 23-11. No, we still have some people waiting on hold. If we didn't get to your phone call tonight, I do apologize. Please feel free to call in sometime again soon. We appreciate you calling in. I'll tell you, I want to shout out the fans tonight, even though it wasn't a home game. And I typically shout out the fans when the ballpark is filled in downtown San Diego, talking about the crowds and all that. But I think looking at some of the YouTube numbers, and again, I don't know anything beyond that, but looking at some of the YouTube numbers, I think we've got a record number of viewers watching on our video streams, whether it be YouTube or on X or on Facebook or on Twitch. So thank you to everybody tuning in. Exciting time to be a Padres fan, and we appreciate each and every one of you tuning in, whether it be on the 97.3 The Fan YouTube channel, on the radio in the car, if you're listening on the Odyssey app, or on whatever other platform you decide to listen to us to. We very, 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 very much appreciate it. Hope you'll join us for tomorrow's game. I'll talk about that in just a moment. As always, if you missed any portion of our post-game coverage, you can go back and listen to all of it on the Inside San Diego Baseball podcast with Sam Levitt, available on the Odyssey app or wherever you find your podcasts, or you can go back and watch any portion of our post-game coverage on the 97.3 The Fan YouTube channel. Taking a look ahead to tomorrow, game 2 of this 3-game series between the Padres and the Yankees. Former Yankee Michael King will make his return to Yankee Stadium against right-hander Clark Schmidt on the mound for the Yankees. First pitch tomorrow, 4:05 p.m., and our pregame coverage begins at 3:05. Taking a look at the final totals here tonight in a thriller in the Bronx. For the Padres, 4 runs, 6 hits, 1 error. They left on 5. For the Yankees, 3 runs, 6 hits, no errors. They left on 5 as well. Winning pitcher tonight, Ryan Berger picks up his first major league win. He improves to 1-0 on the season. Losing pitcher was Luke Weaver, who drops to 0-1. And the save goes to Robert Suarez, his 14th of the season. Robert Suarez now a perfect 14 for 14 in save opportunities. Time of game, 2 hours and 53 minutes. We had 2 separate 28-minute rain delays, one before first pitch, one during the game. Again, game time itself, 2:53, and the crowd at Yankee Stadium in New York City, 38,128. Once again, first pitch tomorrow, 4:05 local time here in San Diego. Our pregame coverage begins at 3:05. Until then, for our great studio coordinator, Nick Danucci, I'm Sam Levitt saying so long and good night from our San Diego studios. Again, the final score, the San Diego Padres 4 and the New York Yankees 3. We'll talk to you tomorrow on the Padres Radio Network. Have a great night, everybody.